we'll we're gonna start this thing off the right way, and it's gonna get rolling.
Rolling. Keep rolling. You don't remember that? You don't remember that Limp Biscuit?
Wow.
Limp Bizkit. When I found out what that was, I was like, oh, I can't be messing with them no more. Nah, not me. Anyways, what's going on, Pizzle? It's your boy Taylor B, and I'm joined by my post-coitus co-host, Daniel, DJ, and Joey. Welcome to another installment of Culture by the Uncultured. And before we go any further, for real this time, guys, before we go any further, be sure to click that follow or subscribe button. And remember, Culture by the Uncultured is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Culture by the Uncultured. All right, guys, another week of this quarantine is basically over. So how y'all feeling now? Y'all got haircuts yet? Y'all still out here looking busted or what?
Nah, I've been had a haircut, bro. I told you a couple weeks ago I had to cheat on my barber and just go to a random barber shop one time. But I actually went to the barber yesterday. That's why I was just like, we got to do this another time, or because I was like, make sure we don't do it on Friday because I got the appointment to get the haircut and I'm not missing it.
Yeah, I myself, I've been got trimmed up a few times already. You know what I'm saying? It's no biggie. I'm actually glad that we went through this time for everybody to stop acting so bougie and above everybody just because of what they wearing and how they look. I mean, that's how it is in Arizona all the time. It's too hot to care about your hair. So California got a taste of that.
Yeah, and you guys all know that Ashley cut my hair over this time, so
God,
I had to bear with what I had.
Bowl cut or what?
Oh man,
basically. She did a good job. Right?
She gave you that Mowgli.
She did a better job than what I've seen out in the field. I'll tell you that much.
Cause she could be up in the necks, cutting up hair too.
Is she skilled enough to use the blade, or do you think she'd hurt you?
Oh God,
no.
She gave you a trim. She shaved your beard up a little bit. Gave you a little, gave some sideburns and whatnot. Anyway, it's a lot that we got packed on into this episode this week. We can start off with gaming since some huge gaming news occurred. Obviously, everybody knows The Last of Us 2 just dropped. Ooh, whoop, whoop, whoop. Anyways, I don't think any of us hear about it, and I know we reported on it before that a lot of people weren't going to get it. Seems like that was a lie. Yeah. Plenty of people got that game. Pretty much like the top streamers that I've seen are playing that game, or top YouTubers, I should say, that play video games. They're all pretty much playing The Last of Us 2. The gameplay, I must admit, it looks great. It just kind of adds on to what was in the previous installment in The Last of Us, the first game, where the featured main character is Joel. The storyline, it looks interesting. The scenery looks beautiful. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the first game looked immaculate. There was not really much to complain about ever. The enemies all returning. Different factions are returning. There's more history. I think it's like a 4-year time skip or something like that between the first game and this game. Overall, it's another addition to a franchise, and hopefully it gets to continue forward. However, I will say this, because I did watch some gameplay and I watched a couple hours into it. Certain things happen. Certain things have happened in that game that prevent me from being able to play that game and ultimately enjoying it, because I know I will feel a type of way about said events. Secondly, there was some leaks. Some of the leaks were true. Some of the leaks were false. Some of it was true, or some of the parts that were false. At least I want to say is I think we mentioned them kind of just killing off all the men. It seemed like, or whatever. That's not quite what happened. Even though I'm sure some people might disagree or whatever, but it wasn't just all the men got slaughtered or something, and now it was just a bunch of women running around or something like that. It still made sense. Any of the deaths that did occur, most of the deaths that occurred, made sense as far as like, people trying to fight for survival, things like that. And there's not really much else to report on that game specifically, other than it's out. People got deluxe editions. I think there's like a thing where I don't even think they're accepting trade-ins for that game or something like that. Like I saw some post on Facebook where it was like a stack of games from GameStop, and they were all The Last of Us, and they were like, we're currently not doing trade-ins for this game. Something about an error or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know the actual numbers as far as like how many copies were sold in the game. I'm sure we'll find out here shortly. And they'll be like, oh, it broke records, or oh man, like nobody bought this game, which I will be shocked if that's the case, considering, like I said, a lot of YouTubers are playing this game right now. And they get upset too at certain events in the game, but play it for yourself or watch it for yourself. The choice is yours. I decided to watch it for myself. Do you guys care about that game at all?
I do not, but I was really surprised when they reported that they were going to have to that all those people that were talking smack about the game, they just went ahead and still bought it.
Yeah.
Especially those YouTube people. I watched so many YouTube people that were like, "We're not going to buy this. Nobody buy this. It's terrible." Blah, 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 blah. And then here they go. Oh, we're going to set a record with how much, with how many people bought this game, and this and that. And it's just, come on now, like even if I were to play it, even if I was one of those people that was really pissed off about, how things were going on, I would have just rented it from Redbox and just destroyed it within 2 days and brought it back for $2. Okay. I don't know why people pay full price if they're going to have a problem with it.
That's actually pretty smart, because just in watching the game, if I did somehow manage to work up enough like fortitude, just like, fuck it, I'm going to just play it, I can't imagine me playing through it and then playing it again. I don't feel like I would be like wanting to play that again. There's no way. I just couldn't see it.
Well, from my point of view, I didn't play the first one, and I believe that when the first one came out, I wasn't exactly so much into video games. I took a break from video games for about 5 years. So when you brought up Last of Us 2 was dropping, or the trailer dropped or whatever, and supposedly there was a large amount of people that were kind of disappointed, I guess. From my standpoint, and from a lot of people who don't know much about the game, what we heard complaint-wise about the new one and why it was either going to be a flop or people weren't going to buy it wasn't that important. And I know that's just that, like I said, it's from the outside looking in, but most of the complaints were about storyline.
Yeah.
When I think about games, storyline is probably low on the priorities list. That's big for movies, but when you're playing games, you're the person activating what's going on, and gameplay matters, graphics matter, like little things. Storyline is something you can get the fuck over when you're playing a video game. So I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened and why it still found success. And when I looked up the ratings, and it gave it a 10 out of 10 in every category, even if story, I forgot what it's called, storyline or whatever it's called, even if that was a 5 out of 10 and everything else was 10 out of 10, it would have still been the highest rated game this year. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, get with it or get lost type of deal, but it sounds like they got with it.
Well, I don't really know who was making those reviews, though, because I've heard a lot of things where companies will just buy out people to say, "Oh, give it a 10." So I don't really know. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like IGN and fucking all these game reviewers that were giving it perfect ratings and saying like Metacritic and all that. The actual reviewers were giving it praise, and there's a couple things going around right now saying that the reviews are kind of lopsided when it comes down to the user scores. Now that can be tainted as well by the amount of people that in the beginning said, well, I'm not going to get it because they're trying to push their agenda, or they don't like it the way that the stories goes. But there's a huge disparity. I think I saw in some ratings that had 10 out of 10 by the journalist or the people that wrote those articles, and a user score of like a 3.3. And I know those are few far between, and those can be in different things. And like I said, those can be tainted by different types of numbers. Being someone that never played Last of Us 1, I look at it with I look at it with the same consciousness, kind of like Joey does. It's not that for me story doesn't matter. I'm huge on story whenever it comes to video games. It's one of the major reasons why I play like Legend of Zelda and the Uncharted series back in the day. I really enjoyed the story aspect to go along with the gameplay and the graphics. So I think that I'm probably going to be the same as Daniel. I'll probably pass on it for now. I know a lot of people got Last of Us, the remastered collection for PlayStation Plus for free. So I have plenty of time to play that whenever I want because I have it downloaded, and then probably pick up Last of Us 2 down the road. And with all the people that I know that are buying it, I got a lot of people in the military that I know have already purchased it and are waiting for it to come in or are playing it, so on and so forth. I'll just get a little bit of info from them, see someone who, from the outside looking in, could possibly pick up that game.
For sure, definitely. I pretty much agree with everything you said as far as the reviews are concerned, honestly. I'm curious. I'm probably going to watch the rest for sure. I may even play it someday. I don't know yet. It's just kind of like, it's still early, you know, and being a fan of the original game and having played the original game, there's just certain, like, kind of like how you said, like, I feel like I brought this up before, but The Last of Us has great gameplay for sure. You know, it's a great survivor game, but the story element was a huge thing about that game. The characters, what happens in the story, the way that Joel and Ellie, the relationship and the way it develops and things like that. You know, from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, and then basically kind of events that happen in this game. It's just kind of like, why the fuck did you do that? But
I think it's easy to kind of come after the specifics of storyline because that's really all you can come after. I mean, the concept itself of the game Last of Us, it's about like the end of the world, kind of like
pretty much,
plague.
Yeah.
I guess like a present day plague and everything's just falling to shit. So that already is a great concept, and that's something that's going to keep you tied. So the only thing you really can come after in regards to this game is probably the specific storyline. So if that's the only thing you really have to complain about a game, I'm going to say it's successful because ultimately, and just like other forms of entertainment like music and movies, whether you liked it or not, you had to have bought it to play it.
True.
But unlike the other forms of entertainment, when it comes to gaming, the people who build these storylines and create these characters, I feel like in the gaming world, they really do listen to their audience moving forward much more than a musician would. You know, movie makers. You know, so like
definitely depends on the makers. Some do, some don't.
Right. It depends on the makers. I'm not trying to throw anybody in but just like recently when we had that Sonic movie come out and people are like, this is Bobo, we don't like it, and all of a sudden 3 months later they switch it and everyone's like, yay, you know. But it's like I just think in regards to this game specifically, if we really have to dissect the problems with this game and it's hard to find, so we only go after storyline, I think that's a pretty good way to start you know, a game.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah, I could agree with that. The only issue that I have run into with it is the fact that, like you said, it could differ based on who's making the game, or sort of the same thing with music. But the problem that I have with it is that they set a standard already. We're talking about The Last of Us. Few, like I never played it, but few far in between have I always heard that The Last of Us, the first one, was considered to be one of the best games of all time. Every single person that I know that have played it have praised it for basically everything in its category. And when you set that type of standard, it's kind of hard to. It's kind of like coming out with that sequel, coming out with that next hit for a musician. You can definitely play off of your past success, but once you hit something that's considered one of the best games of all time, it's hard to reach back into that well. And with all those expectations and all that happened in the past, to strike twice.
And how do you not? And how do exactly for after they made the first game and everybody said, "Oh, this game was so great. This game was so this." As the creator of that game and obviously who is it? Sony Computer Entertainment. They're a great company, by the way. They make some of my favorite games. When you hear those comments and see those ratings for the first one, how do you not make a second one? And then obviously, if everybody's so high on the first one, let's keep it real. How often is the second version of something better than the first or even equivalent. I mean, in almost anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's a rarity to have the part 2 be just as good or better. So I think if it fell off a little bit, that's still successful. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not that deep into that gaming world just yet. But just, from my perspective, that's just kind of how I see it.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we'll definitely find out here soon. I don't remember if we talked about this at all, but I just want to remind everybody that Lamar Jackson earned the Madden cover. I'm sure lots of people are excited about that. That's pretty much it for the gaming news that I had at the time.
Oh, Ty,
we can go on into.
I'll just double up on that one real quick because it was Lamar Jackson. And I know we're not into sports news yet, but I just want to tap in on this one. A few days after he was named the Madden cover, he admitted, I don't know if it was on social media or somebody's show, he admitted that the reason why they lost to, who was it, the Titans?
Yeah.
The reason why they lost to the Titans in the playoffs was because they were already looking past them. So it's like, bro, yeah, you're good, and you even got on the cover. You was a runaway MVP, but your mindset wasn't there yet. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens this year, especially with the old the
Madden curse.
The Madden curse, as we like to call it. Even though I swear, who broke it a few years ago? Didn't somebody break
Patrick
it?
Mahomes.
It was Adrian Peterson. No, it was Adrian Peterson broke it.
Adrian Peterson, right?
Not get hurt either.
Mahomes okay, well, I just wanted to throw that in there. So, he's great now, but I think he's got a long way to go to be a real leading quarterback in this league. If he was sleeping on the Titans, running all over everybody, come on.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. He saw Ryan Tannehill back there, and he was like, okay.
Honestly, it does show a little bit of maturity on his part. However, to go out in a public forum and be like, yeah, you know what, like fucking. We weren't prepared. Like for him to admit it, at least it shows a little bit of maturity.
Well, he didn't say he wasn't prepared. He said they looked past them. Pretty much. We thought we had it in the bag. But anyway, well, that's sports. We'll move on. I don't want to get caught up in that win.
That's funny. A lot of albums dropped this week. Marlon Craft dropped a project EP, Work From Home. Teyana Taylor dropped The Album, which is an album. Wale dropped the Perfect Storm, which is another EP. Or is it The Imperfect Storm? I forget. Oh, man. Forgive me, Wale. Don't harass me, please. T Grizzly dropped The Smartest. John Legend dropped Bigger Love. And I'm sure we've listened to some or a little bit of it, to some degree. Just as a reminder, we're going to be working on an episode here soon where we're going to give you guys our top 5 projects of 2020 so far. And some of these albums might make the cut. But let's just kind of go over some of what the projects were or whatever. Marlon Craft, Work From Home. As you guys know, I've been like a huge advocate of Marlon Craft's work. Ever since me and Joy went to go see him in concert, I pretty much became a fan that night, and I've been following him ever since. Work From Home. It's a great EP. It's plenty of good tracks. Marlon Craft's kind of always been on the right side of justice, which is always nice. You hear it in his music. He has songs about love. He has songs to his future son. He has songs just about kind of just like what's the word I'm looking for? Where he just kind of spazzing on the beat a little bit. It's a great project overall. It also features the track Mother's Whiskey or Mom's Whiskey featuring Coda the Friend, which is a previously released single. And it's pretty much it. It's 9 tracks. I think it's about like 30 minutes or so. It's not super long or anything like that. It's a good listen for sure. I can't imagine somebody listening to it and going, damn, this is garbage, My favorite song off the track.
You can't listen to him and say it's garbage because Marlon Craft brings bars. Even if you don't like the actual sound of the track and the beat, even if you don't, and I do, but I'm just saying for people who think that's too much traditional hip hop, when you listen to what he's saying, he's never disappointed. He's never spit out no whack stuff. So
yeah, I'd probably
if you haven't listened by now, go peep an album
for sure. Definitely recommend that. My favorite song off the EP is probably the song Consequences. And of course I've spoken about Mom's Whiskey before. That's also probably one of my favorite tracks, but I like them all. They all made my liked songs. So I'm looking forward to his actual album that I believe he said he's going to drop that later this year. So be looking forward to that too. Next on the list, we got Teyana Taylor with the album. I kind of gave it a one playthrough, or I try to kind of go back and listen to a couple of songs, but I'm fairly new to Teyana Taylor and her music. Didn't really listen to any of her albums before. Just heard a couple of a couple of the tracks from different albums or different projects. Overall, the album, I feel like I could listen to it again for sure. It wasn't bad or anything, in my opinion. I think she had this song, what was it, Wake Up Love? That song hella reminded me of just like when women are like on that BS for like they want you to wake up, and then like they're like hit you, or like they'll get really loud or whatever, and then act like they didn't do nothing at all, and then you're just waking up like, oh baby, you're awake now, and it's like, come on now, you slap that man across the head and wake his ass up, and you gonna pretend like you ain't doing nothing or whatever, right? But
right.
But it was cool.
Because all we see is that ghetto chick from that Tyler Perry movie, Byron. That's all I see. That's still all I see, bro. So exactly what you explained in that, exactly what you just explained right now. Like, oh, she's the type of girl to beat you up and be like, baby, what's wrong? That's it. That's on point. That's exact.
Did you guys get to listen to the album at all?
I listened to it a little bit. It was a little slow for me just because I'm used to her having a little bit faster songs. Like the last album she had where Kanye produced it, it had a bit more, faster beats to it. I don't know if she did this one solo or not. I don't think Kanye was in on this one because it came out on time. But I feel like, I just feel like she got into that R&B. Slow, soulful stuff, and she pretty much stayed in that pocket most of the time. And she did have a couple really good features. I like that feature she did with Kehlani, and I definitely like the one she did with Rick Ross. That was the first one.
She had one with Iman. Well, she had one with Iman too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get there, but yeah, thanks for cutting my legs out under me. Cut the legs off that cow just to ground beef.
I'm an R&B junkie myself, so I'm gonna get to it. I already added it to my list on Apple Music. I just haven't gotten around to listen to it yet. The project's about hour and 20 minutes, so I'm gonna wait till I got some nice time to chill.
Yeah, I gave it a quick listen. Like Joey said, an hour and 20 minutes is a lot to process, especially for an album. I never really listened to any of her work, but I did give it a listen. I like you guys said, there's a pretty good amount of features in there. She has Kehlani and Big Sean. Those are the two of the songs that I like the most, which was Morning and Shoot It Up. But it has a slower type of like you said, it's R&B. It's a slower vibe. It's something that you could really mess with and listen to and just kind of get in a different mindset for. But I thought it was a pretty good album.
And just like all R&B albums, you're kind of meant to listen through and grab 5 or 6 songs from it. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're like. We have these standards for rap albums now that if the entire thing's not filled with straight bangers, it's trash. And that's not fair because we've been spoiled by Drake, Lil Wayne, Kendrick, Cole. Like we've got used to being spoiled. So in regards to R&B, in R&B's defense, me being a junkie, I know that historically R&B albums, it's meant for you to go through, listen to their point of view and grab your 3 or 4 and add them to your playlist, So all in all, I know it's going to be a great album. Like it's going to be a good album, especially with the people you guys named. Big Sean never disappoints. Rick Ross on features is up there with like 2 Chainz. You know what I'm saying? Rick Ross on the feature almost never disappoints. So I'm going to take my time and listen to it later.
For sure. She was low-key getting into her freaky bag on a couple of those tracks too. I was like, okay, this is how we get
Yes, sir.
All right, Teyana, I'm watching you. All right, Miss Shumpert.
With your fake titties, okay.
They had a private listening party too. I think, is she pregnant again? Or for the first time?
She has kids.
I don't know why I said again, but
I don't know if she's pregnant or not.
Okay.
But all I want to say is if they make another remake of Set It Off, she needs to be the first call. I'm gonna just say that.
She's built better than most dudes. I'm gonna say that too. Baby girl is ripped.
Oh yeah. Is it weird that it's like kind of hot though too? because like I feel like I've never really been attracted to that, but for some reason it works for her.
Let's just slow it down. Let's slow it down. I say she's built nice, and I kind of meant the core of her body, but as for the rest of it, because normally they're not that attractive if they're built. It's because she got hips and titties added on there that wasn't exactly natural. So I'm not finna jump on that wagon just yet.
All right. T Grizzly, he dropped a project too, called The Smartest. My favorite thing about the album is probably the album cover. It's like a bunch of cartoons from like Kids Next Door, Totally Spies, and other little animated figures. So here's my thing about T Grizzly, and it's not a bad album by any means. I'm sure like a lot of I enjoyed it. You know, it's not terrible. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I listened to a couple of tracks, but he kind of has this energy that he's maintained over all his projects that it just kind of sounds. It's not that. It's just like there's no change, there's no evolution. Like maybe you're still kind of just rapping about the same struggle, which is fine if that's what you're going through. You know, I know his people are in jail. You know, he's lost a lot of people. A lot of people didn't try to screw him over. You know, things like that. I get that kind of stuff, but the energy that I'm more speaking towards is like his like rapping, the style of rap, the cadence and stuff. It's like it's usually pretty quick, it's usually pretty energetic, and it's usually rapping about pretty much the same thing in most of the songs. That's more so what I mean towards the energy. His lyrics aren't bad or anything by any means. It's just like it all kind of like you could literally. Kind of like how we talk about Migos, you could probably just literally slap one of the verses from another track that T Grizzly has made and put it on a different beat. And I will match. You know, it's like there's not much variety when it comes to T Grizzly. He has kind of like a lane, and he kind of just stays in there. So it's like a safety net, basically. You know, it's not bad because it sounds good. You know, but it's like you're not gonna get if you're looking to aim for the top.
And that's fine. When it comes to music, I still appreciate the variety amongst different people. But I get what you're saying. He kind of has the kind of flow where it's like, again, I can take any bars you spit on track 5 and put it over the sound of track 10, and they would be equally the same. You know, so I feel what you're saying, but exactly, yeah, he's definitely got that. He's definitely got that flow. He's noticeable, which is great for him. He has a marketable voice because he does kind of do that quick rap, sped along, hurried kind of finish these words and with a quickness at the end of the bar type of thing, you know. So, and then he's known to gas a beat. That's what he does, and that is a whole genre of rap music now. Like a subtopic of rap is like that. Gassing a beat. Who cares about a chorus? You know what I'm saying? Let me just say everything I want to say, and as long as it sounds good and blah blah blah, that's kind of what he does. But also,
he really
like
just be ripping.
Ripping. I rhyme, I rip. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all he really do. So I appreciate it. And again, he's another one of those people. We're not going to be spoiled with the entire album being straight flame. Go in there, listen to it, grab 2 or 3 songs, and get out.
Exactly, pretty much hit the nail on the head. Really, that's how I felt about it. I don't know if you guys gave it a listen or not. Maybe not yet.
I haven't actually gotten to it yet, but technically I don't plan to because I'm not really a T Grizzly guy.
I'm gonna take a listen to it. I'm more
keep 2 Virgils over there, Daniel.
I'm more entertained with how he looks physically as a person. He looks kind of funny, man. He looks like Predator, but like not he looks like Predator, but not intimidating.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know if I could.
He got locks too. That's funny. Oh, man, that's funny.
Square head. Yeah. Anyway, what else we got? Who else dropped?
The last album that I know that came out was John Legend's "Bitter Love." I have not listened to it yet. I'm gonna be real honest right now, and I might expose myself low key. I don't think I've ever actually listened to a full John Legend project. His most noticeable songs, of course, I've heard all of those, but a full John Legend project, I don't think I've ever heard one.
No, that's understandable. He gets thrown into, you know, the whole music industry as far as whatever's on the radio. That's what most people have always hearing his stuff. But you have to actually be a fan to sit through some of that stuff. Like even with this album that I was listening to, it got to a couple slow songs, and I was just like, I really want to skip, but I want to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, that's just John Legend, man. That's just, it's simple as that. That's just John Legend. He's gonna make 2 or 3 songs on every album. Is gonna have a little bit of a lighter feel, maybe some pop to it, to where it might reach radio waves. But for the rest of it, he does like, I don't even know the genre. Like, it's not necessarily just R&B, or it's like a new age. Like, it's like contemporary. It's like, you know, he's just kind of corny, but he's also very soulful. So it's mainly, he makes music for his fans, and for anybody who's not like so tied into that style of music, it, you know, no harm, no foul. It's all good.
Yeah, it's really annoying how he has three straight bangers back to back to back, and they're all at the beginning of the album. Because now you have to wait another 6 songs before you hit the other one. You're like, okay, we're back to bouncing now.
All right, well, check this out. That Teyana Taylor album, when you just look at the album, or at least on Apple Music, when you click on the album and you open it, the first 7 or 8 songs all have stars next to them, which I guess is what the artist would consider the hits on the album. And the rest of the album did not have squat. So it's like, well, why didn't you just drop an album with 10 songs?
That must be on Apple Play. I don't have that on my Android.
Yeah,
but they're pretty accurate though. They're accurate as to other albums as well. You know, like, I guess spotting out which ones are the hits or which ones they expect to do numbers. So they're pretty accurate. But I think putting your best songs at the beginning is kind of like an attention getter for a lot of people. I don't know how it works with John Legend. I haven't paid too much attention to it, but that is a common theme in the music industry now. They're going to make sure, oh, if I have 5 really good songs on here, let me make sure I put 3 in the first 5 so that they get through some of these plays, you know? So it's a possibility, but it is a pattern that I've noticed as well.
Did you listen to it, DJ?
Yeah. So I didn't give it a full listen. I haven't listened to the whole album yet, but it's like you guys are talking about. It's John Legend, so you get what you get, and it's going to be probably one of the better albums of the year. Just giving it the small listen that I did, I think I only made it to his feature with Gary Clark Jr., which is number 5, Wild. I'm looking at the set list right now. It's not super long. It's only an hour for 16 songs, which is respectable for that type of album. But his first 5 tracks, I thought were great. They were amazing. Now, I'm not saying that they're the best songs I've heard from him before. Obviously, there's a lot of great songs from John Legend, but I definitely know that since it's John Legend, you're going to get a lot of play, a lot of feedback. You're going to hear him on the radio. If not already, you're going to hear him pretty soon for the next coming months, because I'm guaranteeing that there's going to be a song, probably like a You Move, I Move from Jhené Aiko, or featuring Jhené Aiko, that might just hit that radio and just hit that wave for a while. So
it's gonna be One Life, guaranteed. That's my bet.
You know there's going to be songs that he's going to be on the radio for time and time again. So I mean, for John Legend, it's kind of, you get what you get. I expected this to be a great album, and I'm happy that that's where it seems like it's going so far.
Also, let's not forget John Legend's primary title. Well, I don't know if I could speak for a lot of people, but for me, his primary title is songwriter. So a lot of times the songs that aren't exactly the ones that are hip, or, you know, they don't make you move as much, the words are still, you know, from the soul. So like I said, once you become a fan, you're just interested in what he's saying. You know,
I wasn't saying that it wasn't good. It was just that it goes back to my gripe with sequencing. That's all. If you stretch those out a little bit more, then it gets me. When we get to that middle stretch where it's a lot of slow stuff, it helps that stretch a little bit better for me.
You know what wasn't slow? The downpour they try to bring on my boy J. Cole. Let's get into that, Brennan.
Oh my god!
I've been waiting.
Oh boy!
There's a lot of snow on the bluff, I see, huh?
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of us probably first discovered this because J. Cole dropped a new song this week entitled Snow on the Bluff, which, by the way, if you guys didn't know, it's a movie. I believe it's on Netflix. The single's pretty good. A lot of people started speculating that he was responding to Noname, who used to be known as Noname Gypsy. She found out that the word gypsy is like a slur, so she took that out of her name and decided to call herself Noname only. The only track that I've actually heard from her, or that she was on that I know of, is in it's called is it Sunday Morning or Sunday Candy by Chance the Rapper. It was her and Chance the Rapper on the album Surf by Donnie Trumpet and the Social Experiment, which like pretty much features Chance the Rapper on every track, and then Noname was on one of the songs. A lot of people think that she's underrated. She's from Chicago. Basically, she went on Twitter and basically called out the top rappers in the game, saying that their music is all about the black plight and all that stuff. They made money off of that, but they're nowhere to be found or whatever. It's not really hard to tell who she's talking about because really the top rappers, such as J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, are talking about black plight and making money off of that, right? So I guess J. Cole saw it and took that to heart and decided to make the song Snow on the Bluff, and he responded in kind. A lot of people, their reactions to that were that he was a gaslighter, that he was misogynistic, that, things of that nature. And which is interesting, she also responded with a song of her own titled Song 33, in which basically she just said kind of like the world is on fire and this nigga's talking about me, which is like, that's fair, So what? So wait.
She made a song. Go ahead.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate and try to argue the other side because I already know what I feel and we kind of discussed this already. But while you guys give your talking points, I'm gonna try to give some talking points to speak for the other side of people who don't think that what he said was okay. But what do you?
I'm
guys...
gonna do both.
All right, yeah, that's fair. That's fair too.
I'm gonna do both because I'm of right mind. But I'm gonna start with what you said right now.
As ham as he was going in the text, just give him the segment.
No. Look here. Look. Well, first. I want to respond directly to what Brandon just said. You said that she dropped that song called what?
It's called Song 33.
Exactly.
Okay, Song 33. Right. Yeah, great title. And then the premise of that song was pretty much the world is on fire, but you're talking about me, right?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. So the tweet that she first sent out calling out those rappers, what was that doing?
Exactly.
That was the world on fire and her focusing on who? Okay, so that's contradictory. That's number one. Number two, if J. Cole said something that people found offensive, not only did it come after the word queen, which he called her, if it was about her, they ignored everything after that. They ignored everything that absolutely. J. Cole said on that track that had anything to do with any type of positivity. One, music is not for the dismissive because that's exactly the type of stuff that happens. You're supposed to listen, but if you only listen to parts, what did you get? Selective. It's called selective energy. Y'all came after J. Cole. Did y'all listen to any of those projects that he done dropped in the last 10, 12 years? Obviously not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand who came out with this idea that J. Cole was attacking, not just saying, let me speak to you, let me come to my defense as to what you said and let's get on the same page. Nah, I wasn't received that way. It was just like, oh, let me clap back because I don't like that you're talking about me. When has J. Cole ever been like that? and for people to call him misogynistic, if he was that, would he give a fuck what any female said about him in a tweet? Isn't that the idea? Isn't that what that's having no respect for women, right? Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, why would he even know why would he even know? Like, why would it come up to his radar? Like, obviously she said something and somebody from his camp or anybody, I'm not trying to, point any fingers. Somebody got the attention to call like, hey, did you see what this chick said? Now, if he didn't give a fuck about her or didn't respect her at all, would he have replied in any way at all? Probably not. She would have just been a regular ass citizen. But because if in fact he did respond to her, if it was intended for her and be like, look, let me put you up on game, all they heard was what they wanted to hear. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, after that scrum happened and people were saying, oh, Noname was coming after this person, that person, this person. First of all, you got to know this. Just because you are a woman doesn't mean that if a man claps back, it means that he's against all women. Like, stop that. Let's just stop that. Okay. Let's just stop that. Every time a man has a disagreement with a woman, he's out of line. Did he call her a bitch? Did he say that she was stupid? Did he say that his word meant more? He literally humbled himself in that track, Snow on the Bluff, and said how maybe he's not meant to be a leader. Maybe he's not meant to do this, but let's figure out solutions. And people only said, oh, let me go find the line. If anybody else got some words, go ahead, because I gotta read these lyrics real quick.
Just kind of like I said, playing devil's advocate, and I see the validity in what I'm about to say to a degree, and let me go back also and say the reason why I say, which is it was okay that she dropped it, is because it's okay for people to express themselves. It was okay for J. Cole to express himself. It was okay for her to express herself. Both parties, it's whatever, and it's basically comes down to something I had read also. Somebody said if J. Cole's wrong, then both of them are wrong, because we can't tell anybody how to react to anything. You know, she had a reaction. Obviously, it was why she went on Twitter and reacted the way she reacted. He had a reaction to what she tweeted, so that's why he reacted the way he reacted. And then vice versa, she reacted to his song, so she reacted to the way he reacted. You know, it's a bunch of reactions basically, right? The one thing though that I will say is for certain, and this is my belief in overall, I think it was bad timing. I think it was bad timing in the sense that, one, a lot just happened to black women recently, and it probably wasn't a good time for him to really address a black female leader at the time. And the second thing is, and this kind of just hit me later on. Somebody said it kind of just brings up that same old black woman's tone thing. That's kind of just like a stereotype, you know, and that kind of hit me a little bit.
But he's
too.
Black. He didn't say nothing about that.
I get that. He said this sister's tone. He did bring that up, but that's just that goes back to that, like, oh, like black women are aggressive. They have that aggressive tone or whatever, and it's just kind of like I get it. I don't think he meant it quite that way, but it's one of those things that perception is a motherfucker, you know? So if people are perceiving it that way, then it's bad. But like you said, the rest of the song, pretty much, he called her a queen. He called her a leader. He feels like he's ill-equipped as a leader at this time, and he feels that he's not doing his enough. The only thing he basically really said was that he feels like if she talked a different way to them, then that it would fare better as far as her leadership is concerned. And then after that, of course, he went on Twitter and says, like, hey, follow Noname. I look to her as a leader during these times. She's really smart. She's actually reading the books. He basically called himself an uneducated but educated nigga. That's basically what he called himself.
But he knows how to communicate himself, and I think people who were reading too deep into the lyrics were dismissing the topics of those bars. So let me go ahead and break it down. And he does use the use of the N-word, and I'm not going to use those. I'm going to replace them with other words. But from the very beginning of the song, it goes like this. Folks be thinking I'm deep, intelligent, fooled by college degree, right? So pretty much he's already humbling himself, say, people already give me too much gratitude and think that I'm this because of that and that, but I'm just a regular person. I just know how to describe myself, right? My IQ is average. There's a young lady out there. She way smarter than me. He's already giving her props, like, your knowledge is above par.
Yes.
I scrolled through her timeline in these wild times, and I started to read. She mad at these crackers. She mad at these capitalists and mad at these murder police. She mad at my guy. She mad at our ignorance.
Hey, can I pause you for 1 second real quick? You just said the word crackers right now, and I just want to let everybody know there is a series coming out called Crackers, which is about some white supremacists going back in time, but into an alternate dimension where black people were owning white people. I'm not really here for it. I don't think that we need that kind of material right now because I feel like that's just going to propagate more.
The timing's wrong, right? It feels like it feels like a different kind of clapback.
And a lot of people don't. I don't care to see that. Why do I need to see that? Nobody should have endured that. It sucks that my people endured that, but nobody should have to endure that. And I don't want to see it happen to anybody else. You know.
I did see that.
I just wanted to mention that real quick. Yeah.
Dang, that's gonna ruin my next pickup line, man.
Yeah. Let me just finish this. All right, see.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
She mad at my guys. She mad at our ignorance. She wear her heart on her sleeve, right? Pretty much he's just describing the fact that she's vocal about how she feels. That's acknowledgement. That's one. She mad at the celebrities. Low key, I think she be talking about me. So he's already acknowledging that the things that are said, he acknowledges that it could possibly be about him. And now he's gonna humble up again. The very next bar, now I ain't no dummy to think I'm above criticism, right? I'm smarter than that to know that it just doesn't apply to me. So when I see something that's valid, I listen. He gave it attention. But shit, it's something about the Queen's tone that's bothering me. He didn't say nothing about no sister. He didn't bring race into any of it. He said there's something about the Queen's tone that's bothering me. Now, he's not saying that the tone that she brings is always bothering him. He didn't even say that what she said bothered him. He said that how she communicated it bothered him, and I think I know why. She strike me as somebody blessed enough to grow up in conscious environment with parents that know about the struggle for liberation and turn they provided with a perspective and awareness of system and unfairness that afflicts them and the clearest understanding of what we got to do to get free. So he's pretty much saying this woman is on the right path and knows how we can get, pretty much we have to come together and beat all these issues, right? So if she knows that and he knows that, how is calling people out via social media and scrutinizing your own people who you want to do better the best way to start coming together? That's what he's saying. He agrees with everything that she's saying, but the way she went about it was wrong in the first place. So the way he responded, everybody took was wrong. How you gonna get mad at the reaction, but the initial action is what he's saying? He said, sis, if I'm not right, you not right either, because you easily could have called a meeting amongst all us quote unquote celebrities, people with a voice, people of color, and we could have all came together and did it. I don't see nothing wrong in any single bar that J. Cole wrote and performed. Not one single thing he said was wrong, inaccurate, out of line, disrespectful. Music is a form of poetry, and if she went out of her way to post something online calling people out, I think he did it in the most respectful way he knew how. So
the cool question in that whole scenario there, what was she doing before she decided to call out other celebrities? Because the first time I heard her name was when the beef started. So if she wasn't doing anything, she has no point to call anybody else out, first of all.
Right, and he even wrote that.
She was doing something. I just don't. We're definitely not followers of Noname to really know what she was out there doing.
That's why I asked. I wanted to know. I didn't just want to jump to conclusions. Like I was really asking, what was she doing before that?
I have no idea, just because I don't follow her like that. Like you said,
what I just said. Yeah. What I just said to back up J. Cole was literally his next 3 bars. He goes, just because you woke and I'm not, that shit ain't no reason to talk like you better than me, right? So people will take that as an attack, like a threat, like you not better than me. But he said, just because you woke and I'm not. He said, how you gonna lead when you attacking the very same person that really do need that shit that you saying? Instead of conveying you holier, come help us get up to speed. He's saying, if you got a problem with us not saying something, help us say something, but don't call us out for not saying something when we don't know how to be leaders yet. That, and pretty much he was saying, look, if I'm not doing it right, help me if you know the way, but don't tell me I'm not doing it right and don't lend a hand.
Yeah,
it's that simple. And I don't know why people just couldn't break that down. I just don't get it. I'm all done. I gotta stop because I'm gonna go all day.
It's one of those things where it's like, people are going to have their preconceived notions. So like people who are more on the side of, anti-patriarchy or more feminist in nature or things like that, or who have like, perceived the stereotype of a black woman's tone or whatever, they're going to apply it to how their brain works, to how their interests work, So we're thinking about it from a perspective of just like, pretty normal dudes who, definitely down for the good fight or whatever. So we're listening to it, and then we're not going so deep into the quote unquote negatives of the song or whatever, or if you can say there are any, versus somebody else who listens to the song and they're going to go a lot deeper into these parts and less deeper into the words queen and stuff, because it's almost like probably to them if Donald Trump supposedly goes on Twitter and is like, we need to, I'm denouncing white supremacy or something, but then he goes around and tries to make a campaign in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on Juneteenth or whatever, and you're talking about you're doing what now, and who's going to be at your rally, because it damn sure ain't going to be a bunch of black people at your rally. So let's get that out the way. It's one of those things where I'm hearing you say this, like they're hearing the disrespectful parts, so they ignore the parts that aren't disrespectful, because they're just like, oh no, he said this though, so like that's what he's about. That's the kind of time he's on right now, and it's like, well, no, that's not the case. He's just expressing himself and he's expressing his thoughts on the situation, which everybody should be allowed to do. That's the biggest reason why I don't have a problem with it, is that I know he is not attacking Noname. He is not trying to say like F her, she's a terrible leader, she needs to shut the hell up or something. He's not saying anything like that. He made a simple suggestion while he expressed himself about what she said. That's all he did. He didn't do anything that was like egregious by any means, in my opinion at least. I know Chance the Rapper had something to say. Whatever, Chance. I mean, I know Noname is your friend, so of course you're probably going to be on her side. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's Chicago ties right there.
I just feel that like, I know Earl Sweatshirt, I think, he more so said that it was corny. He had an example that I can't remember right now, but I understood what he was saying. Oh, he said that'd be like if a famous white rapper came out after the George Floyd thing happened and like made a song called like I'll Never Understand Your Pain or something. He said it would just be corny, and I mean, fine if that's how you feel or whatever. Who was it? Punch, I think, came to J. Cole's defense because somebody asked that for Kendrick Lamar to drop the real need to return, and he was like, nah, niggas don't appreciate it. And yeah,
that's 100. When people who have been solid the entire time stay quiet for a little bit and then they say something, there's always going to be the haters. Yep. People who don't know. It's that's real, man. Like, what do you? And then also let's stop. And I hate to just bring this to an altering stop, but let's stop acting like musicians are leading politics. I know that we listen. I know that they're celebrities. I know that they're heard. I know that music is very popular. So is TV. So is this. We're not looking to actors to speak on every single thing. They do. We're not looking to athletes to speak on every single thing. Some do. Let's stop putting so much pressure on these people who ultimately are just like the rest of us with a talent that supports certain categories.
In this case, it's music.
At the end of the day, all these people are just like us. And it's not fair for people who are under the microscope, and I get that, but that's why I'm always going to come to the defense of the people who have consistently done right. Now, if some crazy claims came out of somewhere where J. Cole was crazy and this and that, I would do my research and look into it. But historically, come on, this is a solid dude. You know what I'm saying? And did you say Chance the Rapper called his song corny?
No. Earl Sweatshirt called his song corny.
Yeah, well, in comparison to his music, everything sounds corny because a lot of Earl Sweatshirt's music, people ain't even listening to.
It's out there. It's
wide and offside.
Yeah. I'm in the islands looking for Earl like Toe Jam.
but I just like what you're saying though, Joey. Like, just because you're an artist doesn't make you a leader. That's not what it is. Like, you might be looking for, just because you're woke doesn't mean that you're the right person to lead the charge when it comes to a large movement that is gaining momentum and is actually
right. And let's not forget the reason why these people are known and how they've got their stardom and their platform is because he's a music artist.
Yep.
nobody said, oh, he's a present day civil rights leader / rapper. No, nobody said that. Nobody said what. So what do you? How do you do the pro? Like if crazy shit's going on and the world's falling to shit, what are you supposed to do? You use your talents to better your surroundings. What you gonna do? I'm a rapper. I rap. People who were dancing were in the streets. What were they doing? Dancing. So like, come on. Stop putting this pressure on these other people who are just like the rest of us, and stop trying to put them in positions to lead things that obviously he even says in his music, I'm no better than anybody else. His talent is articulation and flow and music production, and that's what he does to give you everything, all his content. Stop putting this pressure on him to be somebody that he's not. So it's that simple.
Before we get out of this topic, I also want to mention really quick that the 2 officers that were responsible for the death of Rashawn Brooks, they have both been charged already. But pretty sure the investigation is still going. One of the officers, I believe, is going to testify against the other officer, which is definitely interesting, in this day and age. And also, don't forget Breonna Taylor, people. Don't ever forget her. She still needs justice, and her case has already been like over 100 days, if I'm not mistaken. And the first thing that's finally happened, something finally happened. One of the officers that was involved in that whole shooting, he was fired. That's the only thing that's happened so far. I know that they released the reports. They pretty much said something about like no injuries, which is crazy considering she's dead. I know her husband or her boyfriend was locked away, and the other officers, I guess, still have their jobs. Nobody's in jail. Nobody's facing any charges right now. Don't let that go away, please. Continue to use the hashtags, make her name trending on Twitter. I'm gonna try to do my part to try to just say at least every day, retweet or tweet myself, about the whole Breonna Taylor thing, because that story is so sad, man. It ain't right. It ain't right what happened to that woman. And I believe, and also, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, a bunch of statues are being knocked down. We're out here looking like the Middle East out here, like they've been knocked down, statues of Saddam and all that stuff. We getting these Confederate boys up out of here, boy. They're knocking down statues. Unfortunately, I don't know what the hell is going on in San Francisco. They took down a statue of Ulysses S. Grant. People are calling for the destruction of like Abraham Lincoln statues, George Washington statues. The Abraham Lincoln one, I don't know. Like, I feel like this guy's like a legend as far as like, I don't know his real story. I've heard he's part black. I've heard he's owned slaves. I heard that,
Lincoln?
Yeah, like I just heard different things about him.
Part black, but he did own slaves.
So I don't know. I don't know what the truth is about him, but I'm just like, man, if he owns slaves for sure, I want him out of here. That's my priority.
You know what else though? I might not agree with tearing down every single statue. I mean, obviously these people are part of history, whether they're good people or not.
Well, the Ulysses S. Grant one shouldn't have been taken down.
Right,
he was a major component in the Union winning the war.
But the era at which all these people existed and were making monuments and statues for them they created they created these documents that pretty much lay down the law for our entire country, and they're so outdated. So let's stop glorifying these people who lived in a different time where they wouldn't be able to lead our same people. Like, let's acknowledge them. Let's put them in books.
Well,
let's leave them where they should be, in books. Okay. Let's move on. Let's get some real leaders. Let's get a new constitution. Let's do what we swear we've been doing for the last 200 years, and let's evolve. Like, God damn it. Like, isn't it time? Like, come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't believe in evolution.
Okay, here we go. Daniel, I know. I wanted to know what Daniel had to say about the Lecrae thing. Remember the CEO of Chick-fil-A, the church leader?
I was definitely gonna bring that up real quick. Yeah,
I only got a few minutes left anyway, so I'll definitely speak my piece on it. It's just completely wild to me how somebody can just be in front of Lecrae and say something like that, and be white at the same time. It's just like, come on, man.
Anybody who don't know, real quick, we just want to give them the content of that. The CEO of Chick-fil-A, who is also a pastor, I forgot his name. Sorry, I chose to forget it, I guess.
And a pastor of a mega church.
he referred to white privilege in his church in front of many people. He referred to white privilege as white blessings. And
Yeah,
even if you were trying, like, let's just pretend this guy's completely oblivious to sensitivity. If he tried to say, oh, I think privilege is a very strong word because maybe it's sensitive, you didn't get better with calling it blessings. You know what I'm saying? That's just a moronic thing to say, whether you're part of a church or not. That's just
he tried to clean it up and be like, oh yeah, we have all of this country, we have it because of slavery and this and that. This was built on the backs of the blacks and this and that, and it was just like, you're not saving it. You're already dug the hole and you're in this now. It's complete disregard, I believe, for where our stance is in this country and where his stance is in this country. Unfortunately, I'd say a lot of white churches don't understand the black plight. They don't understand, that's the whole reason why there's different denominations within the church like that. There's the white church, the black church. I go to a Latin church, and they are way more in depth than the white church I ever went to, as far as when it comes to racial issues and all that. Obviously, because they're of a quote unquote minority, which that word needs to get up out of there, minority, because we not the minority no more. So I don't understand why people were going after Lecrae. He said what he needed to say. He didn't have to go. People got to remember, Lecrae is a Christian man.
Man, he's not a professional too.
He's not going to go in the way normal people would go in on certain people. He's not going to.
Let's keep it real, Daniel. Let's keep it real. He didn't respond in the way that white people in the church would expect a black man to respond. But he outdid them. He outdid them in every way possible. He clapped back with clarity and professionalism. And I was so happy when I read what he said, because it just made it stop letting these people think that you just come on, bro. Like that shows racism in the church. Like, did it not show like a divide?
Yeah, it definitely showed people's backgrounds, and a lot of things about the church. People are trying to hide their background within the church, and it's things like this where you can shine a light to it and be like, now we see where your history is. Now we see what you're really thinking behind closed doors, low key, and you come to church and you say different things, this and that and the third. But I personally feel like they were trying to trap him by saying something like that to get him to say something completely crazy, because he's still the most notable Christian rapper in the world right now.
Of all time. Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
So proud of
I think he handled himself very well. I was just more surprised that he let him continue to talk after that. He didn't say like, hold on, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I wouldn't say like what nobody said and snuff him, of course, or anything like that, especially in a discussion like that, in an environment like that. I was just more taken aback that he kind of just stood there and nodded and let him like say whatever he had to say. Yep. As soon as the word white blessing came out, I'd be like, stop right there. Because I'm gonna tell you what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna go with the word white blessing. That's no.
But see, that's what it takes. It takes a much stronger man to remain composed under moments like that. And like I said, he's better than some. I'm not black, and if I heard a white man call it white blessings, I might have been like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? Just absolutely.
He apologized too.
Asinine.
He apologized because I guess a lot of people expected him to react more aggressively, or I guess cut him off. And he apologized for not doing that. He said he admits that he was really basically just shocked at the time that happened. He can't believe he actually said that. He talked about that he's healing right now still. He talked about kind of speaking up before in the past and how like a lot of his shows were getting canceled because of that and things like that. And basically, he doesn't care anymore. He's like, I'm gonna talk about what I need to talk about. I ain't gonna let nothing like that happen again. Stuff like that. So
it's interesting. Even as somebody who might have been just sitting there listening to that pastor say that, if I feel like, he decided to change the word privilege to blessing because of a sensitivity factor, honestly, I don't want to attend a church where the pastor is scared to tell me the truth. Why would you try to soften it up for me? You're supposed to be the person we look forward to for direction in regards to our spirituality in this world moving forward, so that our connection with God and, so on and so forth. So like, the best pastors I've ever been around, they keep it 100 with you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need somebody to soften up the content just so that you think you're and then in this case completely backfired and screw him. That's just how he feels. Right. That's how I feel. Sorry, I don't want to throw nobody in.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah, that's big facts. That's big facts, because when's the last time you heard the word fornication in church? Anyway, I think we can go ahead and pass it off to anybody else.
Before we get out of here real quick, I just want to mention that I guess in London they did an experiment recently and they found out the steroid dexamethasone or whatever, something like that, dexamethasone. I don't know. I'm not super huge into steroids or pills or anything. Evidently, it's an inexpensive steroid and it's possibly a major breakthrough for treating COVID-19 on more severe cases. It doesn't seem to have any effect on people who are like just kind of carriers or not really showing any symptoms, but for people who are kind of like needing to go on not ventilators, but respirators and whatever else you have, like severe signs. It's, I guess, improving them a lot. It's working out a lot as far as the cases are concerned. So that's good to hear. And last but not least, shout out to the Supreme Court one time because they ruled against Donald Trump to end the DACA program. What in the butt? That's what I'm talking about. That's a win. Score one for the good guys. Right? And I guess that's about all the time we have here.
Steroids, man. They about to have us out here looking like the Popeyes chicken sandwich running around here.
Oh man. Well, all right, Piglets, this has been another installment of Culture Rather Than Cultured. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Culture Rather Than Cultured. And remember, Piglets, Culture Rather Than Cultured is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. We hope everyone out there is staying safe, and if you can be safe, be deadly. Catch you guys next time. Later, Piglets.